remembering Steve Jobs, and a PayPal and Venmo scam alert. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by Clean My Mac and the new Cloud Cleanup feature. Get tidy today. Try 7 days free and use the code MacVoices20 for 20% off at cleanmy.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it's MacVoices Live, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. I just bulleted all those things out, so that's all you really need to know about this show or any Tuesday night that you can join us in the chat room. We would love to have you. Number of things tonight, as we usually have, and tonight maybe we'll even get through a few more than we have the last few weeks because we have lesser topics, or at least they start out that way. But first, let's find out who's here. David Ginsburg is in the top left of my screen, still in his new office under construction. Dave, good to have you.
Yeah, it's not too much under construction, but I did kind of explode behind me there, just trying to get things orderly, but it's getting there. But
not under construction, but exploded. I like that, Dave.
Exploding, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. Webb Bixby is here as well in the top right of my screen. And Webb, that's a different kind of quilt.
I've shown this one once before. It's one that my wife, of course, made. And if you look right above there, it's supposed to be saying Missouri, but they cut it off so you don't get to see it. But that's what's up there. So,
yeah, but it looks like more of a collage instead of a regular symmetric design.
Well, I'm going to let you in on something. We're working on a collage right now that goes something like this.
Ooh, okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Except, yeah, cool.
You'll be able to wear it. Guess what it is?
Merry freaking Christmas, Santa.
Chuck, Webb sucking up to people again.
Again?
Well, that accusation was thrown by Marty Gensius. Marty, it's good to have you. And judging by the sound of your voice, you have recovered to a large degree from your cold.
Yeah, a majority of it's gone, and but in a couple of days I'm flying to Philly to do 2 presentations at a conference. So at the end of that, I'll have conference voice. So it is.
Okay, well, I have to tell you though, I kind of liked it last week because of the whole Batman thing. That really
that was hot.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I wish I could be sick for you all the time, Chuck.
Thank you, Marty. Brian Flanagan Arthurs is here, and he's got a new, very, very appealing background. It just makes me want to go out and just look at the sunset, Brian.
Thank you. Yeah, just those beautiful Arizona sunsets. Thought I'd throw one up there.
Okay, well, feel free anytime because that's very soothing, and I could use all the soothing I could get with this group. Yeah. Speaking of soothing, Jeff Gammon is here.
Ooh, good segue.
I don't even know what it means, but Jeff, good to have you.
Chuck, if you needed someone to comfort you, I would be there.
Well, judging by some of the comments that happened pre-show tonight, I'm not so sure I want you to comfort me.
Oh, you say that now.
Jeff, yeah. Eric Bolden is here with, that looks like one seriously big mug, Eric.
You can never have too much.
I beat him.
Okay, fine.
What should now tonight? The background is a little less obvious.
I've got 2.
Oh, okay. Two-fisted drinker. That's what you need for this show.
Well, I was having a hard time deciding. I was thinking like sunshine. Get out, actually get some vitamin D before winter. On a hillside in a park near here, which is what this is. Or the bird, which is a chipping sparrow. which I guess is more traditional. So I should probably just leave the chipping sparrow. It was just he would not stand in the sunset. He was not cooperating.
They're jerks like that.
Jeez. Talking the entire time, but unwilling to stand in the spotlight.
When you went back and forth between the landscape and the bird, it's kind of like flipping the bird.
Flipping the bird. That came right to my mind.
Oh, my.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Yeah, Jim Ray is hiding his face under his hat from his hand, and I don't blame him a bit. Yeah. Jim, it's good to have you.
I think it's good to be here.
Yeah. Well, it's good
I'll
to be
back to you in about an hour and a half.
Yeah, well, I'll appreciate your judgment in an hour and a half, but we should note that your AirPods Pro are working again.
Max.
Pro Max.
Pro Max, excuse me. I keep doing that.
Because I do have AirPods Pro. That's what I've been using.
Right. But the Macs are back to function.
Yeah, I stuck them in the freezer again last night and pulled them out, and they were discharged, but they were working.
Interesting. Well, we will continue with that saga. First item on the agenda tonight is this happens, of course, every year by the very nature of it. But 2 days ago, Sunday, October 5th, was the anniversary of Steve Jobs' passing. And as important as Steve was to Apple and was in so many ways to all of us, if for no other reason than just we're here because of Steve and what he accomplished. I think it's just appropriate to acknowledge that passing and, say thank you, Steve, for everything. I was looking back because it jogs my memory every year that we did an impromptu Mac jury back then. And the file is still online. I'll stick it in the show notes if you care. Where just people stopped in. I had an open line and people just stopped in and talked about their thoughts on Steve and, the loss, and it is what it is. So, but yeah. And anybody have anything in particular? I don't know if I never had anything more than a passing encounter with Steve, but did anybody here have anything more substantive?
No, never got to meet the man.
I'd mentioned that I had dinner with him at it was the Comdex where who was the guy from Pepsi that he hired? John Scully. And I was at the Comdex show in Las Vegas, and I was co-owner of a computer store in Columbia, Missouri, which was a college town, and where the University of Missouri is. So we had a huge contract with the university to sell Apple IIs at the time. Anyway, so that's how I got in. Went to dinner with them. I not want to say that we were real close. I was at one end of the table and Steve was at the other. But he did adhere to his vegetarian meal, and most of us did not. So, but he was fine. He was, his reputation does precede him. He's very opinionated on a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't a pretty smart guy. So
that was Jim, the Comdex in 1984.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, Scully gave the keynote.
So, I had an encounter with him at that event as well.
But you didn't have one with me.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Well, maybe I did. I was in the Apple booth, showing my software
with the big giant iMac, or not iMac, but the Mac Plus they had. Remember that?
Probably a fat Mac, I guess.
I mean, it was a big demonstration, and it was a big screen, is what it was.
Yeah, I think I have a picture of that actually.
Yeah. So anyway,
but Jim, what was your interaction?
Well, and I met him twice. That was the second time. First time was a few months earlier at a Apple sales event in Honolulu. But I can't remember if I actually talked to him then, but maybe really briefly. at that event, my interaction was that, so I had come out with Overview in August of 1984, so it was like 3 months earlier. And, at that time, there were like about 10 software packages for the Mac. And so I guess he got his hands on it and was playing with it. And he didn't like that if you entered a date, you had to enter like month, day, year, and the slashes. And he's like, oh, it should enter the slashes for you, without you having to do that. So a few weeks before the show, he had called our office and I wasn't there. So he yelled at Robin, the receptionist, and I got back and he was like, this man called and was yelling at me. He was very mean. So I was working the booth and he came walking by and he wasn't going to stop, but I was like, I want to talk to you. And he's like, what? And so I was like, hey, don't yell at my receptionist. That's not cool. You can yell at me if you want. Then he's like, oh, well, but the software should do this and that. And I'm like, well, there's only 10 packages for your computer. So, can't do everything. We wanted to ship. And actually, we already added that feature. It's going to be out in January. But so that was the interaction.
Good for you.
I was not impressed.
To not be a jerk.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that wasn't cool.
No, it was not cool. But you were cool.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
I ran into her like 30 years later, and she was like, she still remembered, man made me cry.
Yeah, well, it's Steve had that reputation. There's no question about it.
He did.
But you also can't deny everything that he has brought forth for us.
I'm just, I'm not saying, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that was a thing that happened.
We've all yelled at people at some point. In fact, there are people I'd like to yell at right now.
Oh, come on.
I don't think
I try to be nice to you.
Chuck, I do not believe that. I don't believe that, Chuck.
Oh.
Are you seriously? I don't think I've done that. Certainly not called up and yelled at some stranger on the,
Oh yeah, well that part, yeah. But we all, sometimes people just push you to the edge. So, and I was not talking about Jeff, at least not at the moment. Today's Mac Voices is supported by MacPaw and their Cloud Cleanup feature. Is your cloud a dumping ground? Be honest. When was the last time you really cleaned out your iCloud, Google Drive, or OneDrive? That's where Clean My Mac's new Cloud Cleanup feature comes in. It's part of Clean My Mac, your ultimate solution for Mac control and care, created by MacPaw and even notarized by Apple. Cloud Cleanup connects to your iCloud, Google Drive, or OneDrive accounts and scans for the massive space wasters you've forgotten about. Synced files, unsynced files, duplicates, Clean My Mac finds them all. You can delete them from your disk or clear them only from the cloud, instantly freeing up gigabytes. And don't worry, every scan happens locally on your Mac, so your data stays safe and private. Change your mind? You can restore your files anytime. Not everything deserves external storage. With Clean My Mac's Cloud Cleanup, you can finally take control of your cloud, reclaim your space, and maybe even avoid paying for the next storage upgrade. Get tidy on your Mac today with Clean My Mac and Cloud Cleanup, featured in Apple's 2025 Mac App Store shortlist of the year's best 25 apps. Visit cleanmy.com/MacVoices20 for 20% off. That's clnmy.com/MacVoices20 for 20% off Clean My Mac and Cloud Cleanup. Thanks to MacPaw and Cloud Cleanup for supporting Mac Voices. Next thing I want to make sure I just mention is this is something of a PSA because it seems like we've gotten into the habit of this. This was an article on 9to5Mac about scams that seem to be popping up since Venmo and PayPal have now connected. I have not seen any of these, but if you're a Venmo user or a PayPal user, you just may want to pay a little attention to this article just to make sure, because it does seem like I'm seeing more and more scams via text and via email and via phone call that I don't answer. It's just kind of amazing. And it's also sort of dangerous because it feels like I'm afraid I might end up ignoring something that is legitimately an issue or that needs to be addressed, and then I'll get a nasty email or a registered letter or something. Brian?
Yeah, when I saw this, I was thinking about the different rights that consumers have when they have these types of accounts where you can, pay somebody out of this way that's connected to a credit card or debit card, that type of thing, or checking your savings account. It's just wise to be extra cautious because a lot of these don't have the same protections that you would have that you might have, say, with directly using a credit card. So those types of things are just wise to be aware of.
Yeah, it's too bad that we end up this group has to end up giving advice like that, but it is important to pay attention, and it's another reason that I still love to use Apple Pay, because I feel like I've got those protections, or at least more of those protections. So, out of curiosity, any Venmo users here?
Yeah, I use it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I've used it a couple twice.
Okay.
Any PayPal users here?
I still use that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I try not to.
Any particular reason, Jim?
I just don't trust them. And recently my wife used it, and she had a really bad experience with PayPal recently. So
That's interesting, because I feel like I've had two issues involving a PayPal transaction, and they were super helpful and resolved it immediately.
well, she had a somebody fraudulently did something, and PayPal was just like, yeah, we don't care. You've got to pay us, even though they agreed it was fraud. It was a vendor that she had never even heard of.
Wow.
I had some bad experiences with them, but for the most part, lately I've got a pending one right now. I bought something and I never received it, and they're investigating it right now. But it's not a large amount of money, but they seem to be better. I mean, once they finally spun away from eBay, I think you've seen some improvements now to being it's on its own. Back in the old eBay days, yeah, I would agree. There was not well managed.
The thing with my wife I'm talking about is within the last year.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I try to avoid using them. I'd rather use Apple Pay.
Yeah.
Or if I owe somebody money, I really want to send it to them through Apple Pay, and that sometimes works. But other times, it's generally outside friends or vendors that want me to use either Venmo or PayPal as the option. I haven't run into any problems with it. Had one situation where they intervened on me, but that was a long time ago that I've had problems. So,
Brian, you posted something in our private chat, a way to maybe mitigate the potential damages.
Yeah, one thing for consideration to try out is having a second checking account and putting small amounts of money that you might use so that you can use PayPal. And that way, if something does go south in a transaction, or maybe you're in a subscription that even though you try to get out of that subscription, it won't let you, things like that could kind of mitigate some of that damage if it's with a second checking account that isn't tapped into bigger funds.
Yep.
Brian, I have one of those, checking accounts and ATM cards that I only keep a limited amount of money in. And that's when I travel, I take that with me if I'm not using Apple Pay or my Apple Card for that purpose. I'll use that card for like restaurant purchases and things like that sometimes. But the smaller second account, keeping it away from your combined, family account, a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, I've had an account with T-Mobile's had a T-Mobile Bank, T-Mobile Money, it's called, and they just switched to a newer bank now, which is actually like 100% better than the other one was. But that's all I do. I use that debit card. I put a small amounts of money in there, and then I charge things I want to buy, and not have to pile it up in my bank account, but my main bank accounts. But I agree with you on that one.
A couple of things from the chat room. First of all, Brittany is here. Britt, good to have you virtually. Love to have you whenever you can come back. But she asks, does anyone know how the hell to send money to Canada outside of PayPal? They don't have Apple Cash or Venmo.
Can you use Zelle for that?
How about Zelle? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
I don't
Britt.
know, but worth
Well,
checking into.
Just wait till it's the 51st date.
God.
Is that before or after Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
I also, Barry in the chat room said also prefer Apple Pay. I'm finding more sites now offering that option. And I agree, Barry. If I have a choice, I would much rather go through Apple Pay.
Mhm.
And I also agree that it does seem like, in fact, when I ordered dinner tonight, I was surprised to see that the restaurant offered an Apple Pay option. So it's like, great.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. So, and Brian, you just posted a link, a warning about Zelle.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad things, I guess, with Zelle with regards to unauthorized payments, and then if there had a limited amount of success to get your money back and that type of thing. Yeah,
a lot of bad agents use Zelle. So some of the unscrupulous stuff that's going on in the web, if you get a request, just pay for me through Zelle. I always get a little,
Yeah, I mean, for most part, I've had success using Zelle, but there was times I paid the wrong person. Like I had a landscaper that changed hands and paid the wrong person, and basically had to have the other guy threaten that guy to say you better send their money back to them because it was a lot of money, and but that was kind of, I knew who they were. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's fraud across any of these services, unfortunately, and you just got to be very careful. Like I just went and had an appointment yesterday, and I use it all the time. She actually preferred it because she doesn't have to pay any transaction fees. I feel very safe because I know who she is, and I'm looking at her right there. I'm just paying it. So but as always, we got to be careful with those things.
Yeah. Barry said his ISP only takes PayPal or mail a check, whatever that is. Yeah, Barry.
What's a check?
Yeah. But now even the checks are at issue because, the whole check washing thing where they, they get it and play with it and take more money. So,
yep.
Maybe we should all just go live under a rock. I don't know.
It's too damp under the rock.
It'd have to be a really big rock.
Well, okay. Those two voices of reason. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, Chuck, we could always start a counterfeit money business, and then launder it through Zelle.
Thank you for putting that out there on the internet.
Yeah,
Jeff. Appreciate that.
It was a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, people see this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. One or two.
Oh.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.